Happy Thursday afternoon. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm Jim with the Maryland Distillers Guild. We had a wonderful time with Maryland Spirits Month this November. We've got a great team of people joining us today to talk about some really fun and exciting news that came out of Montgomery County during Maryland Spirits Month, or as a result of Maryland Spirits Month. And I can't wait to chat with them. Before we get started, there have been some updates to some restrictions and guidelines in certain jurisdictions throughout the state. Baltimore City has some big updates about on-premise consumption and the fact that that's not allowed. So please keep in mind that Maryland's distilleries are open for business. There are some limitations, though. Some of them are only open for carry-out or off-premise sale, and some of them are open for on-premise, off-premise. All of our state's distilleries have the ability to deliver to you. They also have the ability to ship spirits to you within the state. So check with your favorite local distillery, see what they're offering, and try to show them your support. We also always ask that you try to support your local retailers. And today's a great day because we have 3 representatives from the Montgomery County Alcohol Beverage Service Retail Division. These folks did a great job helping us out during Maryland Spirits Month. And I'd like to welcome Kent, Kathy, and Melissa to the screen today. Thank you all very much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you very much for everything that you did this last November. This was an awesome time for us to come together and partner for the Maryland Spirits Month promotion. You guys did a really great job, and I just wanted to say thank you right off the bat, and we can kind of get into the ins and outs of that and how that all worked out in a couple of minutes. But why don't we quickly start with Kent and go around the horn to introduce yourselves and let us know what you do in Montgomery County.
All right. Thank you. My name is Kent Massey, and I am the Division Chief of Retail Operations for Montgomery County Alcohol Beverage Services. So I run the retail operations from product selection, pricing, to sales of the products in our 26 different locations across Montgomery County.
Kathy,
I'm not sure where we are. My name's Kathy Durbin, and I'm the Chief of Licensure, Regulation, and Education at Alcohol Beverage Services. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for joining us. And Melissa?
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Davis. I'm the Senior Marketing Officer for ABS. All things marketing, communications, events, virtual now. But thank you so much for having us, Jim.
I really appreciate the 3 of you taking the time to join me for this. We got a great email from Kent the other day that really just inspired me to want to share how awesome this story is and how much you guys are doing to focus on the state's local manufacturers. Without retail partners, it's very hard for small craft beverage businesses to truly make an impact in their communities. It's one thing to be able to sell from their tasting rooms or sell at a farmer's market, but to have the support of retailers is truly part of the whole partnership that makes these craft beverage companies really work. And you guys are doing a great job of bringing in Maryland wine, Maryland spirits, and supporting the Maryland craft beverage industry as a whole. So thank you very much for that. Can we do a little bit of a recap about what ABS was offering to consumers during Maryland Spirits Month and kind of talk a little bit about how that was a success for you?
Yeah, so during the entire month of November, we offered 10% off of any Maryland-made distilled products in the stores. So it was a in-store promotion that we ran across every distiller that's local to the state of Maryland. Our marketing team, Melissa Davis and Emily DeTita, that worked for her, both did an amazing job getting a lot of this information online and on social media. And we had a lot of, in-store signage and displays as well, featuring Maryland-made products throughout the store. And as Jim said, we had some phenomenal results. We were really excited about it. Melissa had reached out to me just in the second week so she could share some information online, and had asked me how it was going. And I think, Melissa, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on the numbers, but I think we were up like 120% 2 weeks in, and we were so excited that it was at that rate. And then, it came to the end of the month, and we pulled the reporting and, looked at how we were doing. And just so you know, we knew we were doing good because we had national brands that were reaching out to us, trying to find out why they were seeing a dip in sales in November. So some of our national level distillers, the Jim Beams and the Jack Daniels of the world, saw a sales decrease in our stores in November, while our sales were flat across the board. So they couldn't figure out why they were down, and they were down because Maryland Spirits were up 288%. So I think they were up about $57,000, if I'm not mistaken, for the month compared to last year. So just, absolutely incredible team effort across the board, from our marketing team and, the team out in the stores and retail and our local partners that are, making the products. We have great relationships with a lot of these small distilleries, and, anytime they get the chance to do floor displays or, have a chance to put additional signage up, they jump at the opportunity. So it's a great partnership all the way around.
Now, for a large-scale promotion like this, in the world before COVID, this would have been teamed up with on-premise tastings and lots of promotion in the store with visibility from the supplier. How did this differ, and how was it still such a success in the vacuum that is the COVID era?
Melissa, you want to talk a little bit about what you guys did online? Because I really do think that played a big part in this.
We went digital first. I think we're doing what everyone has had to do during these times, get creative and do something different. We actually had decided to launch Instagram, which was a new platform for us, tied around November. And so our entire November month of content on Instagram was dedicated to Maryland Spirits. This played a heavy presence in our email communications. So we've got a sort of weekly e-newsletter blast that goes out every Tuesday. So we had content from partners. We had, sale pricing to put in there. So just whether it was social media, whether it was email, on our actual website, we have a Maryland Made page. So similar to what you guys do, Jim, all of the products that we have that are from Maryland, they reside on a special page for us. We were running radio, digital advertising. We started that even before November. But it's really a concerted effort, not being able to have tastings, in-person events, but just getting out the word sort of every possible way that we could. At the end of the day, some of our highest social media posts, things on Facebook, have come from local partners. So I want to say the week before Thanksgiving, one of our highest grossing posts was a local brand. We had a great one from Scotty's. We've had great ones from 10th Ward. And 1,200 people are reached, 200 engagements or more. So it's just been really great to see consumers interested and wanting to be involved in learning about these products. And obviously, as Kent said, shopping the products.
I think it's very cool how much of an amplification a partnership like this can mean to the message that our members are trying to get out. And it's very neat to know that you were able to use something like Maryland Spirits Month to kind of not only get your feet wet with Instagram as an organization, but also to truly springboard what the whole message was. So thank you for that. That's great.
Hey, Jim, if I would be remiss if I didn't say this. So it's hard to believe, but I've been with ABS now for almost 2.5 years, which is amazing to me because it feels like it was yesterday. But when I first started here, one of the first things that happened was Kathy Durbin, who's on this call, was like, let me take you out and introduce you to some local people. And the local people referred to her as the patron saint of local suppliers. So that's how she was introduced to me by other suppliers. So I will tell you, Kathy really opened my eyes to the opportunity we had at the time. It used to be very difficult for local suppliers to get into our system. When they were available to get into the system, they were often overpriced because through the inherent structure of our organization, there's 2 markups. And we found ways legally to bypass one of those markups for local suppliers and to allow them to sell direct to the stores, which got their items, into the stores at better prices and got them an instant 26 store retail distribution. And then even at the onset of COVID, one of the things that we did was we intentionally bumped up orders for local Maryland distillers to try and help them get through the initial pain of what was coming with COVID. And, being able to put that product out on the floors has helped, awareness, for those brands and to get it out there too. But I really do, like I said, Melissa does an amazing job with the marketing. And Kathy really is the person that kind of opened my eyes to this and got me, as involved and as passionate as I am in the process.
Well, that's a perfect segue to what I wanted to ask Kathy about, which was, are you seeing a lot more engagement from our local manufacturers than maybe you had been over the last few years in terms of their ability to come into the county and really support their brands there? Whereas I know in my history working with the county, it always kind of felt like you dropped everything off and you wanted to get out of there kind of quickly because you didn't want to step on anybody's toes. But from what I'm hearing, it sounds like local manufacturers are becoming a lot more a part of the sale and a part of the story of the product. And is that kind of helping you to encourage more locals to come in?
Yeah, and it's funny because I've been doing this a lot of years, and when local was first getting a little bit popular, we started talking about local products and getting them into the county. It was very difficult. People really didn't want to go through all the hoops, and it was a lot of work. So it really took people like Kent and Melissa to come to our county and to help encourage and make that process a little easier for the manufacturers, but also for people like me who actually write laws and alcohol laws and work on legislation, to also have the ability to have the buy-in of the manufacturers on a local level with local licenses, and to encourage that type of communication. So yeah, the communication's awesome, and I'm so thrilled. This has been a long time coming. So very, very happy and encouraged for the future.
Muted. I have to unmute myself. I always forget that.
Yeah,
I'm always wondering if I can hit the space bar, and it never seems to work quite.
10 months into it, and we still can't figure it out.
Right.
I'm lucky that it's not like pitch black in front of me because the lighting's bad or something like that. So I'm taking today as a win. We all look wonderfully lit. We're all in very nice backgrounds. This is a great time. And I can hear all of you. That's a plus as well. We were talking a little bit about the Maryland Made campaign. Is that an ongoing campaign and an ongoing promotion that you see ABS standing behind, or is this something that's going to pop up periodically and be a focus and then kind of slide away?
So from a retail standpoint, it's always going to be a focus. Like, it's not something that's temporary. In fact, we're moving more towards a focus on it in the remodels of our new stores. And if any of you have made it out to the Poolsville store and been able to see what we've done in that store, we actually have a whole section dedicated to Maryland product. It's got a big Maryland flag above it. We ordered like a custom-made wooden hand-painted Maryland flag sign to put next to the displays. But it's including the section on the wall and the racking. It's about 12 feet of real estate in lineal footage, and it's about 8 feet high. So it's a lot of holding power for Maryland Made product. And we feature items there, but then they also still have their home in the set. So it gives them double facings in the store. As we remodel our stores, which we intend to remodel every store over the next 5 to 7 years, every single store will get that same set. So every store is going to look the same way. It's going to feel the same way. Anything that's Maryland Made in the store gets a Maryland flag on it. So next to the price sign, there's actually a little Maryland flag just to kind of shout out that it's local. And then our marketing team, again, they've got the program that they're running online and through social media that's, amazing and ongoing. And we'll continue to feature things in different months. And I think that the support that, and partnership that we had during the Maryland Distilled Spirits Month is just, a first step in that. I see that growing with Maryland wines. And we're not even talking about Maryland beers. The local beers in our store are off the chart. It's some of my best selling beer is beer that's being made in Maryland now. When you talk about Denizens and True Respite, and these they're outselling Budweiser. It's unbelievable how much of their beer I'm selling in my stores. So it's a great time to have product made in Maryland right now for Montgomery County.
Well, I'm really excited to learn more about that. And I think that I would like to have you on our Brewers Association meeting like this, maybe in February when we do the whole talk about Maryland Beer Month and stuff, because you guys have played a very integral role in growing Maryland beer, without a doubt. So I think that would be wonderful. Keeping this more on the spirits side, are you seeing any trends in terms of types of spirits that the consumers in your retailer or in your retail locations are looking for from Maryland producers, or are they pretty much open to trying everything from gin to rum to whiskey?
Go ahead, Melissa. I know you want. Okay.
No, get in there, kid.
So I will tell you that the COVID has just played a nightmare on tracking and statistics in our stores, because what happened at the beginning of COVID is everybody thought that all the liquor stores in the world were going to close. And so they had to go buy stuff. Mm-hmm. And so what everybody did is they went out and stockpiled all their old mainstay brands, their Jim Beams, their Jack Daniels, their Crown Royals, everything that was the name brand that, they knew how to make drinks with, they stockpiled on. And that was completely opposite of the trends that we had seen over the last 2 years in the stores. Everything in the stores was going handcrafted and small batch and, barrel select. And that's what everybody wanted. And all of a sudden COVID comes and completely upturns the apple cart. So it's been interesting to see, because a lot of these little craft brands and things like that were really doing well, and COVID slowed that down, which was the reason that we made the decision to just make some large purchases on some of these items, because we knew it was going to cause pain, especially with the restaurant industry hurting the way it was. We didn't want these people to go away. We had worked so hard to get them in the stores. So we were trying to do things that we could do on our own. I am seeing a slide back to normal, but it's also coming with a decline in sales. So like we were experiencing these crazy 26%, 27% up in sales at the beginning of COVID. Now we're almost flat. Now sales are back to normal, but people are starting to experiment again. So I think the big thing for us, and I've talked to Kathy a little bit about this, these are things that, we want to, explore further and look into. It's how do we get tastings back in stores? How do we get, when you have limits of 10 people in a store, how do you do a tasting? When people don't want you pouring them a drink because they're afraid for health, what can you do? And, we're looking into things like, can we do, dry tastings? Can we do sealed tastings where they're getting putting something in a 50 ml and it's sealed, what are the legal ramifications there? What is the state going to say about that? So there's a lot of stuff that we're exploring to try and figure out a way to get these small distillers back into our stores and in front of customers, because it absolutely helps their brands. I mean, I'm not going to name people on the call, but I can tell you that I know there's people on this call right now that when they're in my store, their product sells. Their product sells. When they're not in my store, it does not. Now, the goal is down the road, we want their product to sell all the time. But while they're building their brand, a lot of their brand is literally about them. A lot of their brand is how engaged they are and how passionate they are about what they're making. And that passion comes out and people walk by and they're like, sure, I'll pick up a bottle. And so when you don't have that, it really hurts. And so we're trying to come up with ways to be creative and do other things. The other thing that's out there that has been done, and Melissa has done an amazing job with this, is, online virtual tastings. If they're doing anything like that, can they partner with us, or can we at least get the word out? If they're going to do something virtual and online, can we put it out to our social media and send it out to our email groups so that, they have a chance to do something different and unique that's going to excite people and get people to come into our stores and try their products.
Yeah, and just to echo what Kent said, and I wish Emily was here, because just today having a conversation with one of the spirit suppliers, and we're helping to promote kind of their virtual happy hours that they're doing. It's just another way to help lend a megaphone to what folks are doing, because I've had so many conversations and folks are like, I'm not sure what to do. I knew to do tastings. Right. I knew to do, there was a certain path that you followed that's been interrupted. And then to come back to a little bit about what you'd asked, Jim, about kind of the future of local and kind of the focus. I think from a marketing perspective, yes, local will always be there. When COVID hit, we started heavily talking about local. But for us, it's also going to come to be a little bit about intersectionality. So this idea about, we're going to kick off January and February with some more advertising marketing, but, having people sort of recommit and make a New Year's resolution about shopping Maryland made. Just this idea of, because community matters, kind of going into January, but also as we transition to February, talking about Black-owned spirits, prominent Black voices within spirits, and, someone like Look Vodka, right here, made in Maryland, African-American, female-owned, just a really good intersection there. And then, like Kent mentioned, Maryland Wine Month, but it's also Women's History Month. So, women-owned brands where it's Lion or 10th Ward, I think it just gives some really interesting intersection where you have local playing a different role, even when the spotlight isn't just on local.
I think that that's an awesome way to try to tie the local story into the larger picture too, is finding these other ways to celebrate these craftspeople, these makers, these folks who are really putting everything on the line to hire local, to represent their local communities and invest in their community as a part of what they're doing. So that's awesome. And, that story is the same even for your national suppliers. They're doing those same things, many of them, in their local areas. So, these are all local businesses to somebody. But I think it's great that we as Marylanders, and especially the businesses in Montgomery County and surrounding you, know that those suppliers have you as an ally and as kind of that megaphone. I think that's wonderful. Do you see any challenges on the horizon for the spirits industry, from craft to like growth in craft, based on what you guys see on a daily basis? Is there any kind of inside baseball or insight that small handmade craft distillers might want to think about when it comes to marketing and positioning their products at the retail level?
So I will tell you the one thing that I have seen people start to dabble in, but it's scary because everybody now is trying it, is the canned cocktails that are liquor based. So spirits based canned cocktails but what happened is they took off, they were on fire, and now all the big boys are playing the game. But I will tell you that some of our best sellers in the stores are made by small companies. So we don't have a whole lot of local play in that area yet. But it's one of the things I know people are looking at. There's a challenge with it because you can't get aluminum right now. So for a lot of distillers that are thinking about getting into the game, they're not able to buy aluminum in the small quantities that they would. Nobody will even sell it to them. So that's one area where people are trying to get into it, but they can't. So that's definitely a challenge that I see. And then I'm amazed at the different things that we're starting to see. Tequila is one of them. So my tequila sales they're going through the roof. But it's not just tequila, it's quality tequila that's then aged in a Buffalo Trace barrel, or it's aged in a 1792 barrel, or it's like they're taking other things. And I'm telling you, Lion's Rum, they're doing great things with like barrel aged rums and stuff like that. And that's a local company that's really caught on to that kick. But rums are the same way. There's a lot going on with rum right now, with trying to do different things with aging that a lot of the bourbons and whiskeys had already figured out. And now you've got some unique, things coming out of rum as well. So we're definitely seeing a shift in trends from bourbon and whiskey drinkers that are willing to try other things. And I will say that as a devout bourbon and whiskey drinker who like tequila did not cross my lips without a lime and a salt. And now I know, like, I've been introduced to high-end tequila that is, that you drink just like you would a bourbon. And it's amazing. And people are doing, really fun things with it.
I would say also the collaborations have been very popular, more and more so. And you're seeing a lot of that on a local level. And with COVID and the buy the drink sales for the businesses and the retailers when they buy local, it's been really exciting to see some of the manufacturers come up with the kits, so people actually mix it at home, so they know what's in it. They've thought of their specialty drink. They've got it all packaged perfectly for you, and I've seen some really wonderful examples of that, and especially local.
Yeah, we had a local brewer work with one of our local distillers, and they got barrels from them, and then they had us come in and design like our ideal beer, and they aged it in those barrels, and then it was an exclusive for our stores. And I mean, it turned out amazing. It's got great online reviews. So those kind of cross collaborations between local is also really cool, and I think it's people really excited because for me, I'm not a beer drinker, but now I've bought this beer because it's, aged in bourbon barrels or whiskey barrels and a whiskey that I like. And I think it gets people to try other things and do other things and gets the beer and the wine and the spirits community all working together locally as well, which I think is a great idea.
Well, you were able to steal the thunder of a question I was going to ask, which was, did you have a good time with that project or not? But it sounds like you really enjoyed it.
That project was a blast. So.
I actually, I live right down the street from McClintock Distilling, and they just did a very similar thing with Montgomery Brewing Company and released a pair of bourbons or whiskeys, I guess, that they had made from Montgomery Brewing beers. And it was a beautiful collaboration, and they both turned out great. Your neighbor down the road, Edgardo, says that they're actually using glass for their mixed cocktails, similar to wine coolers. And we had a couple of them on a visit a couple of weeks ago. We stopped by, said hello to our Montgomery County manufacturers, and Edgardo was kind enough to sample some of those for us, and they were fabulous. So
that's an awesome idea. So
Back
to Bartles and James.
That's right.
No, that's awesome.
That is awesome. And I think that, Kathy and Kent were saying it's all about being creative. We've got some local partners that are just doing creative things, creative collaborations, creative packaging. I know for the first time, what was it, a set of 6 minis together in different flavors that one, distiller's putting out. So, I mean, just being nimble and flexible is really paying dividends. And I know our consumers are appreciating it.
Well, and as you were talking about tasting opportunities and how can you kind of kick that back off, maybe there's an opportunity to encourage some of our makers to try to find those smaller bottles and come up with a way to make a mixed Maryland pack or something like that and provide, a discount opportunity on the back end for the consumer who takes the chance to purchase those. So great ideas out there. And I think that creativity is going to be a huge part of it. And one thing I can say for sure is that our members and the distilleries here in the state do not lack in creativity.
That's right.
So before we wrap up, we've got a couple of minutes left. I would like to ask each of you if you have a favorite spirit and a favorite cocktail. Kent, before this, was telling us about his 2 new cocktails that he's like the master mixologist for. So why don't we talk about what our favorite spirit in general, and maybe your favorite local spirit, and then your favorite cocktail.
I'm really easy because I have go-tos on both of those. So I drink Sagamore Double Oak all day, every day. I have bottles of bourbon and whiskey that are $1,000 sitting on my bar, and I go to the Double Oak all day. But I do like everything. I love to try new things and taste new things, and I get hooked on things. When the peanut butter whiskey craze was going around, I was hooked on that for a month or two. But my go-to drink right now is the pumpkin pie martini, which is just so you guys know is the Libby's ready-made pumpkin mix and some half and half, a little bit of spiced rum and a little bit of bourbon or whiskey, and it tastes just like pumpkin pie. You can't go wrong.
That sounds delicious and dessertful. Kathy, what's your favorite go-to spirit if you're a spirit drinker?
I am a spirit drinker. I actually bartended for over 20 years. So I worked for Steak and Ale Corporation, and an old fashioned muddled properly is my go-to drink if I have a go-to drink. Like, it's hard to sit at home by yourself and drink old fashions, but it is a fun drink. And I will say that I will go back to my friend Edgardo because I'm a Rockville girl. That's where I grew up. Really excited that he's here, and I do love his eggnog. And so that's kind of my winter go-to with hi Edgardo, I know you're out there, and it has always been my go-to ever since he's started. I think I've tried everything of his over the years, but that is definitely a go-to for me.
His flavored products
I have sun in the background.
No, it's all right. It's like a halo. It's just popping
That's
around.
Part of my patron saint. That's part of my patron saint thing going on.
You beat me to it, Kathy. I mean, it was just.
But yeah, I think that Edgardo's flavored products are things that are going to kind of not convince, but educate a new generation of drinkers. As people come on and they're exploring things. Oh, I know that I might like wine, but I don't know that I like spirits. This is a great way to get people introduced to how spirits can be palatable in things that may not taste like a raw spirit, and it may be something that encourages somebody to go out there and branch out and try something new. So I think that's wonderful, and the eggnog is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, what's your go-to?
You cannot do this to me. This is like picking amongst my children.
You're on the spot.
No, honestly, so from a category perspective, right now I am mezcal. So smoky, can't get that locally per se. But also before COVID, and now I'll say post-COVID, I wanted to hit the Tastemakers Trail. So I actually wanted to go visit everyone and try everything. But no favorite cocktail. I mean, I will drink whiskey on one big ice cube. Love a perfectly made margarita. You name it, I will try it. But no, you can't force me to choose between them. Everything, and I think just being in the industry so long, everything is super interesting. Whether it's absinthe at 10th Ward, just being able to try different things, that is why I'm in this business. So
I'm with you. I've been chasing good mezcal for a couple of years now, and it's such an interesting set of flavors and approach. My wife and I were in Mexico actually the week before all this COVID stuff blew up here in Maryland. And when we got home, the one thing that we were craving that we had down there was mezcal and tonic with cucumber. It was the best thing in the world. So I don't know if you've tried that, but if you have not tried that, put it on your list. Put it on your list.
We sell a product in our stores. It's called bitter milk, and it's not local. I apologize for saying it, but they actually make something called a spicy old fashioned, and it's a mix that you mix with whiskey and mezcal, and then this stuff, and it really is like an old fashioned that's on fire and smoky and incredible. But if you're in the stores, grab a bottle of it and pick up some mezcal and some local whiskey and have some fun with it.
You said it's called bitter milk?
Yeah, the brand is bitter milk. We carry like 10 different flavors, but the spicy old fashioned it's made to go with mezcal, and it's incredible.
Well, it looks like I'm going to be making a journey down to Montgomery County in the next few days to pick some of that up.
Good. Yay.
Is there anything that you would like people who are viewing to know about kind of the growth of your retail operations, what's going on there, and what they can expect during these COVID restrictions when they come to visit you?
So my hope is that these COVID restrictions get better. We've got vaccines out now. So I actually had a doctor's appointment this morning, and my doctor was telling me that he's getting vaccinated on Friday. He's one of the first frontline guinea pigs. So he was pretty excited to be trying it. Him and his wife are both getting vaccinated Friday. So I have high hopes that, spring and summer, we will see something completely different happening than we're seeing right now. Fingers crossed on all of that. In the meantime, we're trying to do everything we can to try and keep it business as usual, even though we can't. So it's tough to do when you got to limit the numbers of people in the stores, and you can't do tastings and things like that, but we're trying to stay innovative. As far as what to expect in the stores, we've got some pretty exciting stuff going on. Like I said, we just finished the Poolsville store and opened that up this year. It's kind of my smaller prototype for, that's what you're going to see on the bottom end of my stores. We are about ready to break ground on our new Cabin John store. And hopefully that'll be open spring or summer of this coming year. That is going to be the top end of what you'll see in our stores. And those top end stores, they'll have a tasting room, they'll have an event space, they'll have learning areas. So we're going to have a really wide range, but all the stores in general should have that same look and feel. And it'll be a big upgrade from what you see now. So, for our local manufacturers, it'll be a great place to come in and demo their products and have events and, get in front of people. And, our higher volume stores will be a little higher end, and they'll have, more of that event space and that kind of stuff to do things like that in.
What an incredible concept. That's awesome.
The only thing I would say sort of on my end and to leave you with is, I know we talk about Maryland made in the distiller perspective, But we are, hopefully from a marketing perspective, we're planting seeds. That's how I like to think about it. So sure, you can come into our stores, you can buy our product, but also, for somebody sitting in a restaurant in Maryland, does it make them unconsciously think, oh, let me ask and see if there's a cocktail with a local product. Is there a local on the menu? If you're in Montgomery County, you're talking about beer and wine, is someone in, their local beer and wine shop asking about a local winery? So, I mean, for us, it's planting seeds, watering them, and then hopefully all boats will rise, both on the manufacturing side, the retail side, for ABS retail stores. So it's something that I really feel like, and I think we all feel passionately about, that can help so many different groups of people, especially during these challenging times.
I think you hit a very important nail on the head there, Melissa. I was going to say earlier that it seemed that a lot of the growth for craft spirits specifically grew out of the craft cocktail movement that was going on at great restaurants, lounges, bars. And it wasn't quite clicking to consumers that they could go to a local retailer and find those great spirits. They felt like that was something because they didn't know what the bottle looked like, or, it didn't have 5 faces across. It was only one placement on the shelf. They would grab what was comfortable and what they were used to buying at a retailer without thinking about the local impact. And now I think that the consumer is much more local focused and interested in supporting that business that's down the road. So great point there. I appreciate that effort and that comment. Kathy, anything on the horizon from your perspective? What are you hoping for more impact from local suppliers in the county? Anything interesting that you can share with us?
Just looking towards the future now, looking towards local and the community. We know that the more people and the communities attached to what's happening in their neighborhoods, that we're going to see more protective factors. It's a safer community. It's better for everyone. Shop local, stay local. And that's what we're encouraging right now. And we're going to, as we reopen slowly, can't wait for that day. And we begin to reopen. I think that we have to, this is a chance for us to take those opportunities to have the community we want and what we want it to look like. So this is exactly what Melissa's saying. We're planting seeds. We're trying to get people to understand that the more they shop local, the more they do local, it's their community. They're making their community better. So I'm really excited about it. And I think that legislation as well, we're gonna look and see what we can do to help the businesses and the locals.
Well, it's awesome to have a great partner in Montgomery County. I know there have been some tense feelings over the years about how the manufacturing industry has felt about the county's role. And I think that we're starting to see that there is a very harmonious overlap for how this should all work. The goal is to get our communities to embrace what's going on and to feel better about how business is being done. So I just wanted to say again, on behalf of everybody in the Maryland Distillers Guild, on our team at Grow and Fortify who manage the Guild, all of our manufacturers and all of the consumers, thank you very much for the support that you gave this association during Maryland Spirits Month. We could not have had nearly the impact with your consumers alone that you guys were able to provide through your promotion and amplification. So thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time today to come and chat with us about what you're doing. I think it's a very exciting time for people to come and visit Montgomery County retailers, see how your retail stores are doing, check out these new concepts that are going to pave the way for kind of an exciting future for buying craft in your stores. So thanks so much for that. And
Thank you for having us.
To everybody watching, please go visit the ABS webpage at montgomerycountymd.gov/ABS. Check out what they have going on with their 26 retail locations. And please, it's more important than ever to show your support for Maryland's growing distilling industry. Please support your local distillery, whether you're buying their products at a retail location or buying directly from the distillery. Curbside pickup, delivery, carry out, shipping, visiting a great ABS store. Any of these options are options for you to show your support. Please do that. And if you have a couple of minutes, check out our link in our bio on Facebook and Instagram about Pass CBM TRA. That is the Craft Beverage Modernization and Tax Reform Act. excise taxes affecting the craft beverage industry will be, the relief will be expiring on December 31st, and we really need your support. This could be very devastating to Maryland's distilleries. So take a minute to learn about that. Visit us at marylandspirits.org. Show your love to ABS. Thank you all very much. Have a great weekend and stay safe.
Thanks.
Thanks.